Well, we are in October now, Jimbo. So I seen you've already given up on the Eagles with the Mudvayne shirt, and I'm ready for hockey season. Oh, what a...
I do gotta get a new Flyers jersey. I might get it's a Russian name, so I think this week I'm gonna practice his last name.
Oh, the goaltender?
No, or I think he's like 18 or 19 years old. He's our draft pick this past draft. We actually had to pay Russia to bring him back over here.
I thought that was the goaltender that you got. You drafted him like a year or two ago, and like they wouldn't let him go. Like they wouldn't let him leave because obviously all the stuff going on.
But that kid I am excited for. But this
they
kid
finally got him over too. Yeah.
Yeah, this kid was supposed to be like a top 2, top 3 pick, and somehow fell to us at 7. So he's
probably because he might have been stuck in Russia. Like he might have been under Putin's thumb. I don't know. Maybe Vlad wasn't going to let him go. So some people might have a little something to do with that. Maybe I don't know. We'll listen. I love hockey players. They're tough.
Yes,
but Putin does scare people. And hello, everybody. Welcome to the flagship Stay Tuned Sports. I'm your boy King. That is your good friend Jimbo right over there. I still feel weird doing the main show open. It's still weird to me to do because it's your thing.
Like we'll practice it. Yeah, maybe we'll practice it. Like you give me a cue or something that I know the song is going out or something like that.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I should have it on the Discord there, so you can see that well, see you can be a part of it here as we do this. We're still figuring stuff out. Well, that's the thing too. In the chat, like, during the live streams, like I try to explain the history of the show to people, and I actually stopped and realized like we do have a bit of a convoluted history. Like because I say like we started it in 2016, even though the logo says established 2018, because I had to leave it for a while. It was dormant for a while. Then you brought it back in 2018, and then it was you and Shoulders who did it for a bit. Then you did it alone for a bit. Then I started kind of guesting back on every now and then, and now here we are. So I always found that like we have a very convoluted history for how we've gotten to this point. Anyway, but thank you so much for watching us here on Stay Tuned Sports. If you like what you're watching, like, share, subscribe. All those are right down there. It really helps us out. If you're listening to us on the podcast, hey, come on over to YouTube. It's pretty fun. You actually get to see our ugly mugs. And, well, I mean, I'm a good-looking man. I'm pretty.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm very pretty. I think, you know what I mean?
At worst, we're average.
We have to. Listen, I don't know about you. You can say you're average. That's fine.
Listen,
I am a pretty fat man.
We could do a before and after of. I always bring it up. My driver's license, and that one picture I found of you is the before, and the after is how we look now.
But like here's the thing. I think I've gotten better looking as I've gotten older. I don't know what that is. Like a tree, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm like a mighty oak. I don't have the hair though, so that's why I shaved the head mostly. Although I have not shaved it in a while. As you can see, the ghost of the horseshoe is coming back here a little bit. So I gotta do a little bit of that. Enough talking about how attractive men we are, Jimbo. It show's already off to a weird start.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about this. I want to say on the countdown, and not the Von Miller stuff. We'll get to that. Okay. But the big story, the main story, is Davante Adams officially asking out of Vegas. Official. Like everybody kind of thought it. People were kind of like trying to wish it into existence, especially Jet fans here. In the New York area, they really wanted to have like, oh, man, get him back there with Aaron Rodgers. Oh, my God, it could happen. Which now, I don't know how that's going to go over with Garrett Wilson, who apparently had his own little thing. Although he explained it well, and it actually was one of those few times where something was taken out of context. Okay. And then in proper context, it's like, oh, okay, you weren't being an asshole. You were just answering Bart Scott's question. I got you. Yeah. But if Davante does happen to go to the Jets, that'll be I think he automatically becomes the wide receiver number one, yes. Especially with Aaron. But we're not even close to that yet because he's requested a trade. The Raiders are being very tight-lipped about it. And there are a couple of projections where he might go. Maybe there's some places that, we don't know where he's going to go yet. But
Philadelphia. Oh, wait, no. Nick Sirianni will put him as a fullback or some stupid shit.
You never know. Well, maybe that's what Howie does. Maybe it's like, well, listen. He goes to Davante. He's like, hey, listen to me. He'll go, hey, Davante, we'll bring it and we'll do all that. A condition of the trade is we will fire Nick Sirianni. Big Dom will be interim head coach for the little bit, which means just you'll be able to do whatever you want. You hand that man an Italian sub before the game. Guess what? You're getting 162 targets for the whole game. Every play is just going to be hut, woo, to the So that could be. I don't know. Maybe that's part of the deal. I don't know. But yeah. Your thoughts on him already just being like, you know what, F it, I'm out. After 4 weeks of Gardner Minshew or whatever else is happening in Vegas, like what, like, I understand the reason, like why, like he went to Vegas to play with Derek Carr. That was the biggest thing. That was his college quarterback, best friend that he's got, loves Derek Carr. Went there to play with them, and of course, he goes there when Josh McDaniels is there. And McDaniels hates Derek Carr. Yeah. So benches Derek Carr and then trades him. So now Davante, who left Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay in a good situation to go to Vegas to go play with his friend, now doesn't even have his friend to play with. And now he's there with Aiden O'Connell and now Gardner Minshew. As much as I like Minshew, so like the whole situation with him was kind of got weird and bad, and it just seems like, especially after that that week 3 game where he just kind of, you saw him on the bench there, and he was just like, I'm done. Like he saw his face. He looked
defeated.
I was just like, I don't want to be here anymore. And so now he's officially made that request. A couple things I want to ask you. What do you think about the whole situation, and also where do you think he goes? Where is the ultimate destination for Davante?
So one, I'm actually like very surprised it took this long for him to say I want out. I really thought like after the Derek Carr situation, maybe at the end of that season say I want out. But then when he was on the Netflix show, the Peyton Manning receiver, when he kind of insinuated like he didn't want to be there no more.
Right.
Like even then, should have said, "Hey, I want out." But here it is, pretty much like in my head, a year and a half or so since Derek Carr's been traded, or was he cut and he signed with the Saints?
No, I think he was. I believe he was traded. I want to say he was traded.
Yeah,
he was. But let me see.
Took a year and a half for him to finally say, "Enough's enough. I want out of here." The one team I did see as a I guess a possible place was Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers. Like, can you imagine him, Mike Evans, and Godwin on the same team?
Where you heard that? I have not seen that anywhere.
It was one of those, kind of like the question you just asked me. Where would it go? And it was like CBS or NFL, and it had Tampa Bay, it had Washington, it had New York Jets, and then like the question mark for like the surprise team. But when I saw Tampa Bay, like I was like, holy shit, that would instantly make Tampa Bay like a Super Bowl contender just because of those three receivers.
They might be a Super Bowl contender anyway, the way they are. If you add Davante there, that I don't think it would hurt. And Derek Carr was indeed cut. They were actually working on a trade to the Saints, but then they just let him go.
Yeah.
And got nothing for him. And he went to the Saints anyway, which is like, I think that might be why, McDaniels, of course, was let go. And who was their GM at the time? He used to do Notre Dame games. And then they had him on. What the fuck was his name?
Oh, Jesus, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. I can't remember for some reason,
it shows you how good he was.
I mean, he was a better Notre Dame announcer than he was a GM, but
yeah,
because now they have Tom Telesco. So
yes,
and I don't mind Telesco. I think he's a pretty decent.
But as far as teams, I mean, I'm going to take the Jets out of it because obviously they're like the 90% sure he's going to go there type team. Even though they're in our division, I wouldn't mind seeing him go to Washington. Put him in McLaurin, because I mean, really, it's just right. McLaurin.
And that's I get that. Okay, so now here we go. Now, what we need to discuss, like you're talking about, maybe Washington, maybe Tampa Bay, maybe some of these other places. What I've seen so far, at least from the reports, the sources, is his two main places he would like to go is Florham Park, home of the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers, or New Orleans with Derek Carr. Those are his two places that he would prefer to go. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that the Raiders have to send him there. That doesn't mean the Raiders can't accept a trade from somewhere else. And if he's kind of pissing off the Raiders just might be like, all right, well, screw you, and enjoy Cleveland. You never know. So this is my question. Like, you talked about Washington, you talked about Tampa Bay. What are they giving back that the Raiders would accept?
Well, I mean, obviously it's got to be high draft picks, because I think the Raiders, to the point now,
I think they're asking to, but again, you got to remember Davante is, he's a little older.
Yeah.
You got to look at what production has been and whether or not that's his fault or not. You have to look at that, and if I'm the Raiders, of course, I kind of have all the leverage, so I would of course drive the price up, but I don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw them say second and or a third round pick plus more compensation.
The latest I heard was that it was at least a 2. Is that they want a 2, if not also personnel, and if not that, maybe also adding on seeing what other teams are doing. So, like I said, the base minimum would be a 2 is what they're asking for.
Yeah. I think they would also expect, like, if the team that is trying to negotiate with them has a average to above average possible ceiling receiver, a young receiver, they would probably ask for that in there, because they're going to be in a full rebuild mode.
So let's look at it from this aspect. Like, let's start with the less likely ones. Ones that you were bringing up. Let's say Washington. Let's say the Washington football team of Redskin Commanders. They're like, we want to give Jaden Daniels another weapon here. Because kid's got it, all right? This kid's good. Let's give him another weapon. What can Washington give to the Raiders that will get Davante Adams there, in your mind?
As far as the Commanders, I think that would be just straight-up draft picks, because they don't have
I don't think that's doing it, though. I don't think just straight-up draft picks are going to do it.
I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be like, it has to be a Mike Ditka type trade, but it's going to be, if it's going to be all draft picks, it's got to be 3-4 type, draft picks.
It's gonna take something where it's the whole draft. And if I'm Washington, I'm not doing that, because I need to again, as we talked about before on here, Washington is rebuilding not just the team, but the entire organization from the ground up.
Yeah.
They got to rebuild that entire thing from Snyder. So, to them, I think draft picks are more valuable to them than they are to maybe any other team.
Yeah.
So, I don't see Washington as a part of this simply for that reason alone. That they're not going to want to part with draft picks, especially high draft picks, when they're looking to build. They want to get young. They want to be young players around their young quarterback.
Yeah.
And they'll have Terry McLaurin. There we go. Got it. As their kind of their veteran core there, their presence there. So I think for a lot of people it's fantasy thinking. It's nice thinking about maybe throw him in Washington, seeing what he can do with Jaden Daniels and this kind of resurgent offense that Washington has. But I think that might be a little bit more of a pipe dream. Let's take a trip down south. Tampa Bay. What's Tampa Bay giving up?
So obviously they're not giving up Mike Evans, Godwin. Then
I think it's a non-starter right there. They'll at least want Godwin. They'll at least want Godwin plus picks.
Yeah, but see, then they have the rookie receiver that, granted it was the Eagles, but torched the Eagles as their third receiver. Kind of going like with what I just said a few minutes ago about being average to slightly above average. The kid was at least average.
But the Raiders are going to take somebody on a one-game basis, and if he's looking that good, Tampa Bay's not going to want to give him up either.
Yeah, but to have a chance for Davante Adams to get the to win the Super Bowl this year, possibly, go all in this year.
But it's not nearly a guarantee. That's not like we're going to be like NFC Championship game material just by getting Davante Adams. I don't think that's again. Will it help? Sure, but I don't think it's not like one of those it's not a Tom Brady situation. You're not getting Tom Brady and being like, we're automatically already a top team in the NFC. Getting Davante Adams doesn't do that for you.
Yeah, but if you could pull off this trade to take a number one receiver and make him your number three receiver, and basically have three number one receivers, because Godwin could go and be a number one guy anywhere.
All right, but also then that begs the question too. You have three number one receivers. That's going to cause a problem. Because
that would be
wide
only
receivers don't like sharing. Yes. They're not very shared people. Sharing is caring. Wide receivers are not very popular in the communist community. You know what I mean? Like they're not very sharing the wealth kind of people. So I would like that could be another problem. And like I said, for what we're discounting the fact that a team might be able to fleece the Raiders, and the Raiders make a dumb trade and don't trade it for the value that maybe everybody else thinks that Davante's worth, or what people think that they could get. So that's a possibility still. So let's look at that. Like we're looking at it from a logical standpoint of, well, the Raiders wouldn't accept that, or the Raiders don't want. They're going to look for that. We're looking at it from what a best case scenario for the Raiders would be.
Okay.
But we've also seen a lot of teams make stupid fucking trades. So I'm going to throw one more maybe unlikely team in there, and I'm only throwing this team in there because if the Raiders want to be petty as shit, the Raiders can be petty as shit. And if there's ever an organization that kind of fit, well, fuck you, pettiness, it is the Raiders. What would it take for the Cleveland Browns to get him?
Well, obviously Amari Cooper would be gone.
Amari Cooper would be gone. And I think that one is, unlike the other two spots that we looked at, is available. I think the Browns are willing to trade him. He might be wanting to get traded. And also the Browns, I think, are let's face facts, kind of fucking stupid. And they would give up a 2 and a 3. And, so you're looking at, they would probably give up Amari a 2 and a 3 to get Davante, which would be very enticing to the Raiders. And obviously would piss off Davante because you gotta go play with the sexual assault guy.
So being a little funny here now. How funny would it be if you're the Browns, call up the Raiders? Hey, we'll give you Amari Cooper for Davante Adams. No, that's not going to be enough. All right, we'll throw a second and a third pick in as long as you give us Aiden McConnell back and take Deshaun Watson away from us.
No, no, that'll never happen. They'll listen, we'll take the physical being of Deshaun Watson, and he could be on our practice squad or whatever, but you're keeping all of that contract. We're not touching a fucking cent of that. Go fuck yourself. That's the only way Deshaun Watson's getting moved is if the Browns eat the fucking contract. That's the be-all, end-all, whether they cut him, whether they trade him, whether they... whatever they want, throw him in a mascot suit. Although that would probably end up badly for a lot of people. We've known how some of those mascot people are. Not to say anything about the Devils, but I don't know if anybody knows that story. Quick tangent here because I'm crazy. Back in the day, we have our current mascot, NJ Devil, guy, big devil head, walks around. Pitchfork, okay. People don't know that. I think it was early 90s, 90, 91, somewhere around there. We had another mascot. I believe his name was Slapshot. He was a giant puck. He was a big puck, had a big Devils logo on him. He walked around, puck guy, how you doing? I remember as a kid, I was like, oh, cool. And then one day, he disappeared. He wasn't around anymore. Turns out, Mr. Guy in a puck costume was just straight up grabbing girls' asses walking around the concourse. Was just straight up sexually assaulting people in the costume. So, maybe putting Deshaun Watson in the mascot costume, not the best idea.
And you guys make fun of Gritty. How dare you?
Well, I mean, to be fair, who knows what Gritty gets into when he's over there in Kensington? We have no idea. We don't know. And let's face facts. Looking at Gritty, that motherfucker lives in Kensington. So
he's seen some things.
Yeah, I was gonna say. And if nobody knows what Kensington is in Philadelphia, I mean, I would say do a Google search, but prepare yourself. But anyway, so that would be, I think, my last little, kind of the fuck you destination for Deshaun if the Raiders wanted to. Now let's look at the two favorites.
Okay.
And I'll go. I'll start. I'll ask you about New Orleans first.
Okay.
Because again, that's his buddy Derek Carr. That's the reason why he went to the Raiders in the first place. And then Josh McDaniels fucked that whole situation up. What would it take? And the Saints have pieces.
Yeah.
I think the Saints have enough pieces that they would be willing to part with. What do you think it takes to get him into the Superdome?
So I think the starting piece, not Alave, the other receiver, the other deep threat guy, Rasheem.
Yeah, somebody called him Rashid Rice the other day, and I was like, nope, that's the wrong Rashid.
Yeah, I can't remember his last name, but I think he would have to be the starting piece to any of the negotiations between those two teams. Then again, there's gonna have to be draft picks in there. Now, where the Raiders,
it rhymes. It's Rashid Shaheed, baby.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Depending on what the Raiders think of him, would decide if they would take a second or the third. I don't think they would. I don't think the Saints should trade a second, third, and that kid for Adams. But between the Saints and the Jets, now if they want to do not necessarily do right for Adams, but be nice to Adams, I think the Saints would be the better option because I think they're a younger team, and the Jets I think are pretty much a 1 year.
The Jets are a win now team. The Jets are 100% a win now team. So you have to look at it from, and that's another thing to look at too, is what do you feel like, do you want to spend a couple of years there, or, like that's the other thing with Davante, like, is it all about the Super Bowl? Is it about playing with someone you like and just, having that, who do you feel more comfortable with? Because that's the other thing too, is like, he can play down in New Orleans, but that's certainly no guarantee of any kind of playoff success coming up. You know what I mean? So I think that's something you have to worry about if you're Davante. Like, yeah, I can play down there and I can have a good time and I can play with my buddy that I played with in college and we can have all this stuff, but chance of winning a Super Bowl, but
so do you think, and not to get off the Adams subject here, but do you think the Saints, who has the better chance right now to win the Super Bowl, the Saints or the Jets?
Jets, not even a question. Jets are a better team right now overall. On paper, Jets are a better team. Jets
even
are
with
much
the possible
better team.
Stuff going on behind the
much better Salah team. Well, that's whatever's going on with Salah and whatever else. But like just from the quarterback situation, just from having either Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr, the Jets are already better.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. But like just to say the Saints, they're a 50-50 shot against Super Bowl. The Jets,
the Saints are not a 50-50 shot again. They're much less than that. Let's face facts. Listen, the Saints, for again, they're 2-2. They got off to a hot start, but have been ever since. They lost to the Eagles and didn't score a touchdown. And again, they lost last week as well in a last-second field goal to Younghoe Koo, Notre Dame legend, who you didn't like and used to yell at in the bar.
I like that. I like that young lad.
The way you cursed that motherfucker almost every time it came up was kind of funny. Anyway, so you have this like they're okay. And now again, I look at the Jets. The Jets are 2-2. They just had a terrible game against the Broncos. Beyond a terrible game. That was horrendous. And they had, of course, they had that Monday night game where they couldn't get off the field. The offense couldn't get on the field, and it was just the Niners dominated them the entire game. In between, they played the Titans, suck. Patriots, suck, and won. So again, we're looking at we don't have a full complete picture yet, I think, of everybody. So we have to still kind of look at what's the talent on the roster, what do they look like, what is the potential still for both the Jets and the Saints. And I think the potential for the Jets, given the talent on the team that we know is there, is higher. That's why I say, without a doubt, unequivocally, Jets. Quickly. Oh, Jets. I know that a lot of people are going to be like, that's terrible, is it? But again, just from perception, I believe that is the case. And if you add Davante Adams to that, I think you start elevating the Jets back to that spot. Now, again, we're talking about a team that still has to, again, Aaron Rodgers, a lot of people say, it's his second year with the Jets. It's really not. This is really his first year of actually having game time, game experience with these guys on the field. He's actually now played 4 full games. So they're still working out whatever they're working out. We know Salah. Listen, we said it in the preseason. We said it when we were still doing our reviews and everything early on. If there's somebody that can fuck this up, it's Salah.
Yeah.
Like Salah's the piece here that I think that we have to worry about being the bad piece to all of this. Yeah. But I still think the potential is there. And I think, honestly, like, if you're the Raiders, the Jets still might be able to get you more.
Yeah.
And the one thing, like, here's the thing I think the Jets can provide. I mean, the Jets have an asset that doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
The Jets have an asset, a very good defensive asset, that all of a sudden you put on that defense along with Max Crosby once he gets back. Raiders defense can become really, really good, which then kind of mitigates a little bit of whatever Gardner Minshew is going to do. His Minshew magic sometimes doesn't quite work out. you have the Jets give Hassan Reddick, and this was I said it in a group chat, and I'll say this: Hassan Reddick in a third for Davante Adams. Who says no?
Here's the only thing with that is I wouldn't do that trade. Only because Hassan Reddick is probably close to 30 now. Obviously wants money. And if the Raiders are in a rebuild mode, you don't want to go out and spend money during a rebuild mode. You want to build up that cap space to, 2-3 years from now, say Dak Prescott, 2 years from now.
Dak just got signed. I think it was, what was it? It was a 5-year deal he took, 4 or 5
No,
year
but I'm
deal?
saying like a top tier quarterback that might be hitting free agency, like what happened to Kirk Cousins. Okay, hit free agency and just got the Brinks truck backed up to his house. That's what you would want to do if you're rebuilding, if you're the Raiders. Now, and obviously again, it's the Raiders, but they would want to make sure they have a contract in place with Hassan before he shows up, before the trade goes through, just to make sure that they get there.
Right, yeah. There's no more of this, hey, we trust you to come in and play for us, even if you don't have a contract, and we'll work on that. That would have to be basically almost a sign and trade.
Yeah. So that's the only reason why I would say no to that. Unless they have like a condition of, listen, if Hassan don't show up, then that third turns into a fifth. Like a playing time type conditional pick.
That would have to. I think it would be listen, you can trade Hassan in a third.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't show up, like if he doesn't play, like you said, like if there's a playing time minimum that he would have to do, then it's a third and your second or something, or a third and a first. Like it's still you're still putting the burden of risk on the Jets.
Yeah.
To cover that. If it's like, well, if he doesn't show up, well then, fuck you. You would still have to find a way to do that. But I honestly think Hassan Reddick he's just desperate to get out of there. Like he feels like he wants nothing to do with New York. I don't know why it feels like the trade was even done at this point. I find it funny that Adam Schefter had to come out and explain to people, because everybody was like, well, why don't the Jets just trade him back to Philadelphia? Maybe Howie can get him right back and we'll do our own thing. It's like, no, the rules say you can't do that. It has to be at least 2 years.
I didn't know about that, though.
I
didn't know about that rule. No.
Yeah, no. I knew that pretty well. But, like, I think when we were originally discussing it, whether or not it was, like, can you find a way to void the trade? Like, say this trade is void. It doesn't happen. Everything goes back to what it was beforehand, antebellum, whatever. And we'll just kind of start with that, and then Philadelphia can find another way to trade him. But once the paperwork is officially in, it's kind of like a marriage. Once you've consummated the marriage, there's no annulment. You know what I mean? Like, you can annul it up to a certain point, but once that seal is broken, as per se. And that was it. The deal's already been done. The NFL accepted it. It's on the books. It's there. So trying to turn it all around can't happen. And now you can't just trade him back to Philadelphia. Yeah. So it's and the Jets aren't just going to cut him. And plus, he owes so many millions of dollars now to the Jets too. That's something else I think we have to worry about, or the Jets or the Raiders would have to worry about is that fine money, because he has to pay it. It's not like he's a rookie. He's not on a rookie contract.
Yeah.
And that's where they said, like, those things can be forgiven on those. Once you move on from that, once you're on your second contract, any and all fines that you incur, you have to pay them. Team can't cover it. Team can't forgive it. It's not one of those things like, oh, it just goes away. So that's something else I think that would be a complication into that if you wanted to trade Hassan Reddick as part of a deal to get Davante Adams.
Yeah.
But I think the elements are there, like, of what they could give up. But I'm going to say this. I think, believe it or not, I really do think that the Saints are probably the more logical destination. Looking at it now, I think they have more pieces to trade that they're willing to part with anyway.
Yeah.
Like, listen, they could even throw fucking Taysom Hill out there, and just be like, here, you'll get Rashid Shaheed and Taysom Hill, and we'll give you also like a sixth or something. Give a low draft pick for Davante. And it feels like they could do that. And then here's the thing: whether Derek Carr, you think he's good or not, you got Chris Olave on one side, you got Davante Adams on the other side. You're still going to be good.
Yeah. Because the one's going to take the double teams away from the other, and then the next game it's just going to be flip flop.
Right, and Olave has shown to be pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good. He's pretty good at the football. So
to the point that like you forgot about who was that other receiver? Oh, that Michael Thomas, was that his name? Like you totally forget that he's still a free agent out there because of this
yeah,
kid.
because he had so much. Oh, my foot hurts. Oh, I don't think I can go. My foot hurts, and then it's like. His foot really didn't hurt. He just didn't want to play, or he was like sitting out, or he's just being a real pain in the ass. And so it was finally like, all right, see you later. And that's the problem too. Is like when you do shit like that, now you're a free agent. Now there's something out there, but nobody wants to fucking touch you because it's a headache. Nobody wants the fucking headache.
Yeah.
And so now he's just sitting out there. There's a couple of people like that. Fucking Tannehill's still out there. I'm actually surprised to blip. I know it's silly, but why haven't the Dolphins got him? I know he started with the Dolphins, and maybe there's some still animosity or bad blood from the time he was there, and with Stephen Ross and the management there. But I think a lot of I think the GMs are different. Obviously, the whole coaching staff is different. Like a lot of that organization is different. You don't have anybody.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry. Like Snoop Huntley isn't the answer. Skylar Thompson's not the answer. Tim Boyle's not the answer. Is Ryan Tannehill the answer? Probably not, but at least he's shown to be a somewhat competent NFL quarterback.
Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure he'd be able to get Tyreek Hill more than, 30 yards or 40 yards this past game?
What's to lose at this point if you're the Dolphins? Your season is teetering. And right now you are considered, at least by me, and from what I've seen from a couple of the other talking heads, by a lot of people, the worst NFL team right now. You guys
that's going up against the Panthers.
What's that?
And that's going up against the Panthers.
And that's going up against the Jaguars, who are 0-4.
Yeah.
People think that you're worse than an 0-4 team.
Yeah.
People think that you're worse than the Panthers, who everybody says organizationally might be the worst team. People are saying you're worse than the Titans, whose quarterback looks like he's literally trying to throw the ball with mayonnaise. Like it's like you to me, it's we've got nothing else to lose. Let's chuck shit at a wall and see what fucking sticks.
Exactly.
And the fact that they haven't done that yet is insane. And by the way, I know we're talking about all these different places where Davante may go and do everything like that. To the people who are inevitably going to have those questions, there's a better chance of me wearing a New York Rangers jersey than of Davante Adams or the Raiders ever trading with the Chiefs.
What about the Broncos, though?
What's that?
I know what about the Broncos?
No,
I know they got a little rivalry.
There are certain, first of all, you don't trade within division.
Well, yeah.
That's kind of a rule to begin with, just because then you have to face them twice a fucking year.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do that. Which is why the Giants just letting Saquon go and sign whoever he wants, and it's like, oh, he just happened to sign with your biggest fucking rival, is pretty fucking stupid. That's the thing. If you knew you weren't going to sign Saquon, fucking trade him. Get something for him that last year or something. But instead, we did that. Oh, we're going to do right by Saquon. Yeah, all right. Well, Saquon decided to fuck you in the ass, so...
but did he really?
Yes.
Because we don't run him. Sirianni don't run him.
That's it. Listen, that's something that you have to... You and your friends have to go down to the NovaCare complex and have a little conversation there with old Nick Sirianni, old manure boy. Because, I mean, that is what it is. Like, boy,
yeah.
I remember when the schedule first came out, and you were like, man, we got an early bye. That sucks. Everybody hates, you don't want to have the first week bye. That's terrible. This bye might be the best thing that could have happened for the Eagles right now.
Yes.
Boy, did you guys need this. Hopefully there's a reset. Hopefully everybody's like, all right, everybody calm down. Let's all relax for a second, and we'll get back into this. But boy, I will tell you what. Listen, and I know Eagles are a rival, and I hate them, and all this other shit. There is a piece of me that in 2 weeks I'm going to be rooting. And see, this is the hard thing too, because I don't want to. But if the Browns fucking beat the Eagles, or even make it close, like, I don't want to root for Deshaun Watson. I don't want to have that feels icky. But just for the chaos of it.
And that's the funny part is how many times so far throughout the season, with your Giants or with other teams that I'm liking what's going on because I just say I like the chaos. And here I'm in the chaos.
So you're in the chaos now of it, yeah. Like when the Giants were going through all the stuff with Saquon and everything like that. I'm from the outside. You liked it, and then you really liked it because Saquon went to the Eagles. So you're like, all right, there. Now we're cooking with gas here. But when you're in the fire, it's not as fun.
No,
it's not. It's not nearly as fun as this is less fun than previously indicated. And it really is. It's not like when your team is the one that everybody's looking at and is like, oh, at least we're not that team. Oh, can you remember? Oh, there's, And that's why part of me is actually like, everybody still makes fun of the Giants, and people are still trying to do the whole Daniel Jones thing, and like, oh, Daniel Jones sucks, or oh, Daniel Jones this, Daniel Jones that, but Danny Dimes hasn't looked terrible. Outside of the first game, he's gotten better and better every game.
Yeah.
So he's not, he's not the part of this. And that's the thing that I've recognized, and I think a lot of other Giants fans have started to recognize now, is like, we're losing because of Dable. We're not losing because of Daniel Jones. And that's the thing. Like, we know, like, everybody knows Daniel Jones can't throw the ball more than 40 yards down the field. After that, it becomes, hey, whoever can get it, can get it. Like, there's no accuracy. There's no pinpointing. There's no dime throwing once you get past 40 yards with Daniel Jones. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
But the fact that the coaching and the play calling doesn't seem to take that into account or tries to overcompensate for that. And that's what I mean. Watching that Dallas game, it was either 5-yard curls or fucking 60-yard trying to bomb it. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Rah! Stop it! like, play within the ability of your play. Call the plays and coach your players within their abilities. And there are coaches that can do that. Andy Reid does that. Kyle Shanahan does that out in San Francisco, if you've seen him. McDermott up in Buffalo.
Yeah, he's able to put LaFleur in there too.
To do that. LaFleur to an extent, absolutely. Although I think he still makes some dumb play calls that he does. But yes, I would put him in there as well. And then you have guys that are fucking round peg square hole motherfuckers. And it seems like it's Dayball right now. And that's something I think that needs to change.
Yeah.
Is like, what was going on? Why was 2022 so different from what it is now? Daniel Jones looked great in 2022.
Yeah.
He looked like a completely different quarterback, a quarterback on the rise, making it. And now he's not. What has changed? What is going on? Well, have we changed offensive coordinators? I think we still got the same one. And now, and now Dable's calling plays and things like, oh, this didn't work. And it's like, what's going on? What's different? And not only that, but again, I go back to the Washington game where it's the things are so simple, and they're like little things that have cost the Giants. You just put the backup kicker in an open roster spot, so it's open. There's nobody in there. You're not putting anybody else in there. You took the field with 52 people when you're allowed 53. where you could have easily put in the backup kicker because you weren't putting anybody else in there. It's not like you were taking somebody else's spot away.
Yeah.
And instead you didn't, and that cost us a game. Because if the Giants have a kicker, we win the game.
Yeah.
Bottom line, Giants have a kicker, we win the game. And then we just over the Dallas game, like twice in a goal-to-goal situation. I think we were in a red zone 3 times. And at that point, like I said, 40-yard, 50-yard passes aren't a fucking problem.
Yeah.
Because you're within 10, 15 yards of the fucking end zone. So you can't use that as an excuse of like, oh, well, Daniel Jones can't throw the ball that way. Yes, he can. We've seen him. But instead, you try fucking running the ball fucking 2 times, losing 17 yards, and now we're backed up in 3rd and long on these goal-to-goal situations, and then we're fucked up and have to kick a field goal. Instead of just... Because, again, one of those 2-3 opportunities that we had in the red zone in the goal-to-goal situations, we win the game. We only lost by 5 points against Dallas. One of those opportunities, we win the game. So when you look at that, like the Giants are this close to being 3-1, at worst 2-2, but this close to being 3-1 because of coaching, not because of the players. And I think that's going back to almost to the Davante thing and swinging that motherfucker back around. Boy, it feels like I'm pulling an 18-wheeler here. Swinging that back around, doing a little wraparound. That's the problem I think with the Jets is you have a coach and a coaching staff that they might be the reason why, like the Jets on paper are good, but they might be the reason why the Jets don't do anything or aren't doing well. You know, like I know Aaron Rodgers loves Nathaniel Hackett, but is he a problem? Because we saw what he did without Aaron Rodgers in Denver and with the Jets last year. Not great.
Yeah.
Not great. And Robert Saleh, over his time in New York, not great. This is his 5th year as a coach with the Jets?
4th or 5th.
How has he been there that long? And again, like they wanted to give him a mulligan for last year because of how Aaron Rodgers got hurt. They said, "Oh, well, we're just gonna do over this year." But like we've seen it in years past, Saleh has let that locker room just do whatever it wants and get away from him.
Yeah.
Like I understand, like 2 years ago when they had Zach Wilson, and it's like, listen, you have Zach Wilson. This is your guy. And then they start Mike White. And next thing you know, players are walking around with the Mike effing White shirts, and having all these conversations, things leaking out of the locker room. Diana Rossini had a whole big fucking piece about it, talking about what's how the Jets locker room culture and how that's either what's that doing, good or bad, and the Jets had to come out and try to deny it, but more stories came out, more different sources came out, and it's like, why is he still there? Like, if you want to have the thing, like if you're Woody Johnson, and Aaron Rodgers' condition of being there is that Nathaniel Hackett is his offensive coordinator, fine, whatever. But you got to be able to say, fine, listen, we're getting rid of Saleh.
Yeah,
we'll bring in another head coach. We're going to do all this stuff, and we'll say this is going to be the offensive coordinator he has to work with. And if a coach wants to do that or not, because a lot of coaches they want to bring in their own guys, I get that. So you'd have to find a guy who's willing to do that wants to do that, or whatever. But Robert Saleh, unfortunately, is not an NFL head coach.
No.
And
at least this time around.
And I think this is the Jets and Joe Douglas have put together a very good team for the 2nd year in a row. Joe Douglas, I think, is one of the better GMs in the NFL. He really is. Yeah. Through drafting, like, look at all the young players the Jets have. Through drafting, the one mistake he made was Zach Wilson. That's the only mistake. Actually, 2. He's made 2 mistakes, and that's Zach Wilson and Robert Saleh as the head coach.
Yeah,
and I've been kind of saying that for a while now. I don't think Robert Saleh is a good coach. I don't think Robert Saleh is the right coach, especially for the Jets, and I don't think he should be a head coach. But they continue to let him do that because they almost seem afraid of either pissing off Aaron Rodgers or trying to like, oh, we'll give him another shot. We'll give him another shot. We'll give him another shot. But how much longer do you have? How much longer do you have with Aaron Rodgers? How much longer do you have with a lot of these pieces here? This is, Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner and Breece Hall. This is their third year already. So, like, next year, they're going to start looking to hold out for contracts. They're going to look to see to get the extensions because that's going to be their fourth years. You're going to have to start doing the fifth-year options on a lot of these guys, whether you're going to accept it or not at the beginning of next year, whether you're doing fifth-year options, what that money's going to be like. Like, now you're getting to the point where this window is closing.
Yeah.
And you're putting all your eggs in Robert Saleh's bald-headed basket. And I don't know if that's the right fucking choice.
Yeah.
If you're the Jets, I think that's a big, big, big problem.
That's why I think this year is make or break for him. Even then, though, I could see if they win the Super Bowl, I know you are totally against it, they just let him go and get Bill Belichick or Mike Vrabel. Like, obviously, there's better coaches out there that you could bring in with the younger talent that they have.
If the Jets win a Super Bowl, I don't think it'll matter. Like, they'll keep them there. They'll do whatever they want because, listen, Jets fans have been Jet fans and have passed on the generations after winning one Super Bowl 56 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, that's, like, you give this fan base another Super Bowl, they'll nurse that for another 60 fucking years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So as long as you get there, I don't think anybody will give a shit. But I don't think Saleh can get you there.
Yeah.
And I think, again, you have the talent. But as we saw with other things, it's the minutia. It's the little things that can win or lose you a game. And as we saw with the Giants, it's a personnel decision or certain play calling decisions that will fuck things up. And you go from being 3-1 to 1-3 based on those decisions. And Robert Saleh is somebody who I don't think can make those decisions and makes the wrong ones. Or, again, doesn't have the right tools to be the guy to corral this team, to be the leader of a team. He doesn't strike me as a leader. And you saw that in Hard Knocks 2 years ago. We see it with his press conferences. We see it with all the leaks and the sources that come out about the Jets. If you have good control of your locker room, if you have a good control of your organization, you don't get leaks. You don't get discontented things coming out. You don't get reporters saying a bunch of shit. You don't get that.
Yeah.
Like, when we look at the Patriots, all the shit about the Patriots is coming out now. There's, documentaries and there's other things and people tell stories about it now and everything like that. But during that time, nothing came out about the fucking Patriots. Yeah. Everything was just business-like. We're on to Cincinnati. We're on to whatever. This is what we're doing. Simple one-word answers, and that was it. Nothing else came out. Because Bill, whether you think he's a good coach or not, or whether, he was just made by Tom Brady, or whatever the case is, he had control of that team. He had control of the organization. He had control of the locker room, and he had the respect of the locker room. Which is something that Robert Saleh does not have. Robert Saleh tries to be everybody's friend. He tries to fucking post, I found a cool quote on Instagram. I'm going to put this up on the big board and say, this is what our mantra is going to be, And one of the funniest parts of that, and this is, I forgot, is during that Hard Knock season, Aaron Rodgers first there. Like, they, when you walked into Florham Park, they had their mantra for that season. Like, they want to have a mantra or a saying for every season. It's like, knuckle down or, all gas, no brakes or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And apparently for that year, what they had put up on the thing when you first walk into One Jet Drive there was what's next? It was like, okay, so what's... okay, we did this, and you did this, and we did this all good. Okay, but what's next? And what do you got to do next? Like, that was the purpose of that.
Yeah.
So you got to think, considering the Jets' history, too. Like, there you go. You got Aaron Rodgers, first 4 plays, gets injured, out for the season, whatever. Now, you're a Jet player. You got to walk in there on Monday morning, or on Tuesday morning, because that was a Monday night. You walk in there on Tuesday morning, and just a giant wall in front of you just says, what's next? What's next? Like, right there, it just shows you everything about it. It's just like, did you not fucking think about that? Do you know what team that you're coaching? Don't say what's next, because what's next is always bad if you're a Jets fan. It's never good. Like, because, again, I'll never forget this. There were Jet fans who were so nervous about Aaron Rodgers in that first game because, and I remember this, Vinny Testaverde, he had just led the Jets to the AFC Championship game against the Broncos the year before. And they were playing well. They were good. Like, it was like, and I think that was it. The year 2000. Like, that was going to be their year. Like, this is it. We made it that close, but now this is where we're gonna go over the top. And they start the season, and like the first, I want to say first series, or maybe even the second series. It was definitely the first quarter.
Okay.
Fucking Testaverde goes down. I think it was a ruptured Achilles too. It might have been Achilles or it might have been an ACL. I can't remember. But gone for the season. And like I think their backup got hurt too. They had to use Tom Tupa as their punter as their backup quarterback, and they won that game.
Okay.
But then it was fucking downhill from there. And all Jet fans are like, last time we felt this excited, we felt like this was that, and we just hope that doesn't happen again. Wouldn't it be so Jets if something like that happened? And next thing you know, fucking 4 plays, pop, Aaron Rodgers is on the ground, and every Jet fan just had to go, what's next? Thanks, Salah. So I do. I feel bad for Jet fans. Like, I really do. And again, like I said, I'm kind of a Jet fan. Like I said, I am a Giants fan, first and foremost, always have been, always will be, but I root for the Jets. I like the Jets. They're from the area. The Giants and Jets rarely ever play, so there's not a rivalry there. And I don't know why some people insist that there is, and it's like, oh, our Jet fan, well, fuck the Giants. It's like, why? What did the Giants ever do to you other than be here too? And Giant fans I know either don't care or are the same as me of just like, I grew up watching the Jets at like 4 o'clock after the Giants would play. Or, like that, whenever the Giants were playing, I'd watch the Jets. So I liked both teams. Unless the Jets played the Giants, which is once every 4 years and now every 3, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
So there's no rivalry there. So I do like the Jets. I root for the Jets, but man, it's hard. It's hard to beat. When you see what they've gone through, it's so bad. It's so bad. And so that's what I mean. Part of me is hoping, like I'm hoping against hope, like they can overcome Salah. They can overcome Hackett. They can overcome some of these other things that are happening and just break through this. Give Jet fans something to cheer for, something to root for. But I don't know. What else is going on? We talked Davante. We talked a lot of other shit going on.
You got the Von Miller thing, and I gotta kind of laugh at you because of Rashid Rice's, NFL investigation into the whole reckless driving thing.
Right.
I think you're right. I think he'll get suspended next year, so he'll basically be out of football for 2 years. Which is crazy.
He's probably only going to get 4 to 6 games.
He won't get the full season, but still, I mean, pretty much a year and a half being out of football. Like, I don't understand that. Like, you got the video evidence when it comes to Rice here. You got the video evidence of him wrecking out. I don't know if there was video, but I remember seeing the still frames of him with his buddies walking with duffel bags. And it's like, you have the proof that he did something wrong. Why do you gotta wait a year and a half to make a decision of, is there a suspension, is it a fine, this and that?
Right.
Like the Von Miller thing, I don't think there was video out there. It was more of they had to go off with the police investigation part of it.
Right. Well, I'm reading the article right now. Yeah, it was an allegation. Let's see. Bills defensive end Von Miller. This is from ESPN, by the way. Elenia Getzenberg is the writer here, just to give credit where it's due. Bills defensive end Von Miller has been suspended 4 games without pay for violating NFL's personal conduct policy. He'll be eligible for reinstatement following the Week 8 game against Seattle. He's going to miss games with the Bills and Houston Texans and with the New York Jets and the Tennessee Titans. Suspension appears to stem from the allegations that Miller assaulted his pregnant girlfriend in November of last year during the Bills' bye week in suburban Dallas. Man, everything bad for the Bills happens or for players happens in Dallas. Stay out of Dallas. Everybody.
Yeah.
Miller turned himself in. We all remember that. Yeah, Miller has denied the allegations and said that they are 100% false. In July of 2024, Miller said that the case is closed, and the Dallas County District Attorney's Office confirmed to ESPN on Wednesday that the case from November was indeed closed. No charges were ever filed in the case, but the NFL had been conducting a separate investigation. An affidavit obtained by ESPN last year detailed the allegations against Miller, including him putting a hand and later both hands on the woman's neck for about 3 to 5 seconds, pulling her hair and trying to shove her while she was attempting to gather her things and leave after he told her to get out of the apartment where they both lived. According to the affidavit, the woman told Miller she was going to call the police, which prompted him to leave the residence. Police arrived at the apartment, observed minor abrasions on the woman's left hand and bruising to her neck, injuries consistent with applied pressure to the neck, in addition to bruising on to her abdomen and left bicep. The injuries were documented when police took photographs that day. When addressing the allegation for the first time in December, Miller said, "Honestly, I wasn't on social media before and definitely not on social media now. But from the things that have been brought to my attention, everything is false. And I would love to sit here and say, y'all know me, but it's not. This is not that type of situation because domestic violence really happens around the world for men and women. It's a serious situation, and I would not pull that card. All I can say is that it's just a matter of time before everything gets set straight." NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said in March that he did consider placing Miller on the commissioner's exempt list, which he probably should have been doing a fucking rice already, but, would have saved his ACL. But that they did not feel it was appropriate at the time based on all the facts. The commissioner's list makes players exempt from counting against the active roster for reasons determined by the commissioner. Miller restructured his contract this offseason, saving the Bills $8.6 million in cap space. He served a 6-game suspension for performance-enhancing drugs in 2013. Miller, 35 years old, serves rotational role. Okay, yes. Blah, 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 blah. So, it's a case where the case was thrown out. No charges were filed. Everything else seemed copacetic. And now the NFL, a year later, is saying, fuck you, now you're suspended.
Yeah.
So how you take that, I don't know. Like, again, and domestic violence is definitely something that you don't want to do. And I think the NFL is gun shy since the Ray Rice thing.
Yeah.
That was really the catalyst. Because you have the NFL took a very soft hand with him. Yeah. And everybody was like, if that's the allegation, maybe he should be at least, put on leave until the investigation's done or whatever the case is. And they didn't. And then, because what did he get? I think he got like a 3-game suspension or something. Like, it was something very small. And then the video came out of him straight up decking his fiance, and it was and then dragged her, knocked the ass out. Until I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And then the NFL said, okay, we'll up it to 6 games, and everybody said, wait a minute, we are beyond 3 games or 6 games. This is fucking he Tysoned her. What the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah.
And the way they completely mishandled that, I think they're super gun shy with that now. So now it's a case of where even if it is alleged and even if nothing criminally comes from it, they're going to be like, well, you got popped, so you're getting at least 4 games, 3 games, whatever it is, even if it turned out to be nothing. And again, we don't know what it was, and again, nothing came criminally. But that's the other thing, too. Nothing came criminally with Deshaun Watson, but we all know that he's getting that happy ending one way or a fucking other, apparently. So, and that's the worrying thing. But it's my thing is it should have been done last year.
Yes.
When this happened, when the allegations happened, fine. Suspend him now. That's where that is. You have, whatever evidence is. What investigation did the NFL have to do for a year? And letting him play for 4 games into this year before finally being able to say, yeah, you know what, we're going to suspend you 4 games. Why? Why did it take that? Why did it take so much longer after the police closed their investigation in fucking March?
That's what I don't understand.
Again, once the police closed their investigation, you should kind of be done with yours.
Yeah.
We've learned what is, and from that, that's fine. So either it should have been done at the end of last year, or he should have spent the first 4 games of this year suspended. If that was going to be the punishment that you decided he should have had, he should have been out for weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
Like, that's what should have happened. And if we're going to be honest, probably what's going to happen to Rashid Rice, which is probably going to help him because he's going to need that time to help, rehab with the ACL. So he's going to actually come back probably in a better position than he was.
Yeah.
So, in fact, you're now helping the person that you're supposedly trying to punish. Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't know. Again, the NFL's kind of... I don't know. Listen. Seeing how the referees throw flags, I don't know how the NFL, the NFL's punishments here kind of actually make sense, I guess. Because they just throw shit out of walls and flag. Welcome to watching the NFL. Hey, we're watching the NFL here on Stay Tuned Sports. Let's get rid of flag. Part of me wishes I never made that fucking little icon that comes down and says flag. I put that thing, so I'm going to make that into a fucking t-shirt. I'm going to take that graphic that I made. It's going on a t-shirt. We're going to sell flag t-shirts for everybody. Just cause that's what's going to be on the NFL. Just flag. You like flag? You like flag? I like flag. Flag is who doesn't like flag? Everybody just wants you to watch fucking flags fly, right? We're all about the flag. Stand for the flag. The American flag? No. The yellow one that the fucking refs have to keep on fucking throwing every fucking game.
You're broken, aren't you? From Sunday night, aren't you? And then Thursday
actually, no,
night
Monday.
too.
Monday. It was Monday night that got me.
Was it Monday night's game?
Monday night.
But then Thursday night's game. I mean, granted, it was the Giants, but that I still cannot get over that face mask.
There's people still that are like, and thank God they're still talking about that.
Yeah.
It's just because that's it. Not only has it been the amount of the flags, but some of these calls. None more egregious than that one. That one by far. That is the worst call of the year. And then there is a significant gap before you get to the next one. When somebody has their face mask pulled and they get flagged for the face mask. How dare you let your face mask get pulled? 15-yard penalty on you. Which, again, killed that opening drive, which we were fucking marching down on. Was doing very well on that drive. I felt like Frank the Tank there for a second. I was just losing my goddamn mind. Like, I can't stand the flags have to stop. They have to stop. And again, we'll see tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football, Buccaneers versus Falcons. We'll see what happens there. And hopefully, I'll put the flag counter back up. I took it off for Monday night. I was like, because I had a little technical difficulty. I missed the first drive. I didn't know if there was a flag or not. I was like, you know what? I'll put the flag counter away. It seems like we're already in week 4. It's like maybe the flags will go away for this one. Maybe they've learned and be like, no. They didn't learn. I wish I had kept it up. And see, the other thing too is when I do the flag counter. At first, I was only going to do kind of like some of the other streamers out there have done, where they only do the accepted penalties.
Okay.
Tom Grossi is one to do that. And listen, let's face facts. I'm not even going to flag that. I took the flag counter from Tom Grossi, 1,000%. It's 1,000% a ripoff. The reason I'm doing that is because I saw him doing it, and I was like, that's a great idea, just to show everybody how fucked up the referees are in the NFL. So I 100%. That's a 1,000% grab from Tom Grossi. But unlike him, because he only does the accepted penalties, is what he's lists as his thing. I do for every flag thrown because the intention is there. Yes. I want to show the intention. How many times did we see a flag during a game? Because even if it's not accepted, it stops the game. Referees have to come and have a conversation. Did you see that? Did you see that? Let's go to the replay. Oh, okay. After we're going to pick up the flag. No, fuck off.
Yeah.
You throw the flag. There's the intention for the flag. That goes onto the flag count. If I would have left that up for that Monday night game, it probably would have been above 40.
Holy shit.
Which is fucking stupid. Because I think there was 21 or 22 accepted penalties in that game.
Wow.
But... and that's the thing. That's where I got frustrated with it during the live stream, is because after every big, like Seattle would have a big play, flag. Detroit, big running play, big flag. I was done with it. I was absolutely done with it. So we'll see what happens on Thursday night, where we will be live streaming the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Atlanta Dirty Bird Falcones. I think it's about that time we make our picks for Thursday. We gotta make our picks for Thursday and see what we're thinking about. The Falcons again at home. Falcons have had a shit ton of home games already.
Yeah.
I think they're like almost halfway through their home schedule. because they had the Steelers at home, they've had the Chiefs at home, they had the Saints at home, right? Yeah, they played the Saints at the Dome,
and then
and now they're playing Buccaneers at Dome. So that's 4 games at home already.
Yeah. So that means back end of their schedule, they're going
to be on the road.
They're going to be
fuck tons. So that's something else you have to think about too. About when we're talking about the Falcons and where they might end up and how good they're going to be. They're going to have a lot of road games coming up on the ass end of the year. Because that's it. We're only a quarter way through the season, and they're already halfway through their home schedule. But yeah, so they are playing at the Butthole Dome, and what do you got? I mean, at this point, I was going to say something, but then my brain froze. The Buccaneers coming off a great win against the Eagles, by the way. Great. Just absolutely dominated. Beat the shit out of the Eagles. Really just made them look like an awful, terrible, shitty team.
I mean, you can say that about any team that beats up a high school team. I mean, that's basically what we are. We're a high school team with the male cheerleader as our head coach. Okay? We're not good. I'm going with the Buccaneers. I think this is going to be a close game. I'm hoping it's a close game, but a entertaining game. And I think this is a good game to see exactly where the Falcons are, kind of like how Seattle and Detroit were. I think this will show, is Atlanta the average team, or can they compete with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Detroit Lions, like the next level teams?
Right.
But I'm going with the Buccaneers.
Buccaneers for Jimbo. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers right now. I think they're just right now playing better. I think Baker's doing better. Their defense, especially if Vita Vea plays, that helps. I think the Falcons still haven't figured out quite how to use Bijan Robinson right. And whether, and he seems to have a little bit of he's got talent. He's great. He's an absolute weapon. But it seems like there's a little bit of a herky-jerky kind of start with him. I'm not sure. He can go off, though. I think the other worrying thing too, is that, again, when it comes to Kyle Pitts, he still hasn't been able to get going. Yeah. And so when you look at the Falcons, and it's like you have Kirk Cousins, you have Bijan Robinson, you have Kyle Pitts, and you're not able to get those big pieces going. Now, London's played well. Mooney's played well. They have good players who have stepped up and played well and gotten the Falcons the wins that they have. But I and even the Chiefs game was close. There were they had other games where, again, the Falcons could very easily be a 3-1 team out there as well. If just a couple things break differently.
Yeah.
So it's not like, I don't think this is going to be an easy game, clearly, for the Buccaneers. I don't think it's going to be a bad game either. I think this is going to be a close game like you do. I think it's going to be a good game, an entertaining game, if the referees can keep the fucking flags in the fucking pockets and stop throwing every fucking flag every goddamn play. I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be a great game. But I'm going to go with the Buccaneers as well in the Butthole Stink Dome down in the ATL. So that's it. We both have the Bucs on Thursday night. We're both going to be here broadcasting that. Jimbo's going to be here for the whole game. He's not leaving at halftime, everybody. Daddy gets to stay. Yay!
Because I want to watch actually good teams play that don't wear green. And also, I know, I owe 2 hot wings, so I'll do them during the live show or the live replay.
You know what? You're seeing some people start talking about it more. But I don't think enough people are talking about it nearly as much. Is Jalen Hurts bad?
Here's the only thing I will defend, and I mean, this is a small part of me, because I am one of those that starting to think that he's overrated. Him and Mahomes, granted Mahomes has the Super Bowl, so I know that's why he gets the passes. But him and Mahomes, I think Mahomes has one interception more.
6 turnovers. Yeah, Mahomes has not played well in the first part of the season as far as the turnovers go.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if he has any fumbles or anything like that, but their stats are pretty well close to each other as far as passing yards, touchdowns,
This is the part that I brought up, though, the other day. I think it was on a countdown, was Mahomes. He plays big in the big spots.
Yeah.
Like, he makes the critical play when it needs to be made. He makes the critical throw when it needs to be thrown. He doesn't, like, he's made the mistakes, but then is able to go ahead and lead the team back down. Like, he's able to kind of cover that up.
Yeah.
Whereas Jalen Hurts makes bad plays and then still doesn't come through in a clutch. And then when he tries to come through in a clutch, makes another bad play. Like, we saw that at the end of Monday Night Football a couple weeks ago with the Falcons. Like, he had already made a couple mistakes. The Falcons are able to now go down after a coaching mistake with Nick Sirianni trying to throw the ball to Saquon or whatever. And then still has a timeout in his pocket. They still have 1:20 left or whatever it was. And he tried to force a ball and got it picked rather easily. And I think that's the difference is Mahomes plays clutch in the clutch moments, and Jalen hasn't quite done that. So if you look at the stats say, yeah, they're both playing kind of same. They both look like they kind of suck. And by Mahomes standards, Mahomes has played pretty badly. I think everybody agrees with that. Like, nobody's saying that other. But the reason why the Chiefs are 4-0 is because in those critical moments, Mahomes is still Mahomes. Yeah. And is able to go ahead and get the Chiefs those victories where Jalen Hurts hasn't quite been able to do that. Yeah. And by the way, Daniel Jones, only 2 turnovers. I don't count that interception at the end of the Cowboy game, the Hail Mary one. That doesn't count. So he still only has 2 in my book.
It's a turnover. Turnover's a turnover.
So even then, it's still only 3. That's still only 3.
I wish, since you're talking about turnovers and Hail Mary stuff like that, I wish that they would, like NFL or whoever keeps the stats, if it's a tip ball off a receiver's hands and it's intercepted,
people have been wanting, I forget who it was that Schrager or somebody has been always trying to push for the I think it was called RCI, receiver caused interception.
Yeah.
Where it's, the receiver, it bounces off your chest and into somebody's hands, or they tip it and it goes somewhere else. Like, if it's an overthrown ball and the receiver tries to get it and still gets picked, I think that's still a quarterback error. That should still go as an interception. But if, like, the receiver, it bounces in the chest, bounces off, and somebody catches it, or they kind of just, and somebody picks it. I think that too. But I think the problem with that is then it comes to interpretation. Because then it's like, okay, when is it just a bad pass and an interception, and when is it the receiver fucked up badly? Because sometimes they're obvious and sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
So I think that's the cause of it. But I would at least want a stat for an HMT, Hail Mary turnover. Like, if you throw a Hail Mary at the end of a game and it gets picked off in the end zone or whatever, that shouldn't count overall for your interceptions. Because that's you're just chucking it the fuck up there, and whoever comes down with it comes down with it. So, like, that's the thing. Like, when it comes to, like, that Daniel Jones pass at the end of the game, that's why I don't consider it an interception, because it was that desperation. Well, let me try to throw it as far as I can, and of course with Daniel Jones it was, so it is what it is. But thank you so much for joining us, everybody, here on the flagship Stay Tuned Sports. If you like what you watch, like, share, subscribe. Helps us out immensely. Thank you to all subscribers. Thank you to ELS, who was always in the chat with us, hanging us out. He got us a raid on Monday night, which was cool. Got a lot more new people in here, and that was great to see. Help us on our goal to 100 subscribers. If you like what you're watching, please subscribe. It helps us out immensely, and we'll do that. Also, the links for our donation station down in the description, as well as our merch store. More stuff might be going in tonight. I'm looking. I think I got some Seahawks stuff that's going in there. I'm trying to get all the 8-bit helmet stuff in there, so we'll hopefully get that done soon. So that's there as well as our Discord. That link is down there. It's quiet in there. You can go in there, join, make it rowdy. It's fun. For your good friend Jimbo, I'm your boy King. It's been grand. It's been great. Thank you for joining us. Anything else? I think we're done. I just did the close, so we shouldn't be talking about anything else. That's